are those that would say that the separation clause of the Constitution would mandate that all public discourse be totally secular.
Okay, you can claim that people are saying it, but there's no one saying that the way the Constitution states they prohibiting or what Congress can't support or prohibit a religion over another. It does not mandate a secular ideal.
Do you believe that the separation clause mandates secular discourse?
Well, first of all, there is no separation clause. It doesn't appear anywhere in the Constitution.
The First Amendment is basically the separation clause by saying that Congress and the government itself cannot endorse or prohibit a religion or the free exercise of. It's saying that the government cannot make a person believe or disbelieve in a religion or instate it as the state religion by endorsing one over the other.
There's no such thing as a separation of church and state in the Constitution. What the First Amendment says is Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Our forefathers.
Yeah, so he seems like he understands the government cannot prop up one religion over the other or irreligion over religion. The government cannot be for one belief over another.
Came from another country where there was a state-imposed church, where people were forced to worship. They wanted no part of that. They said, we're not going to allow government to establish a state church and coerce people to worship in it. That's all it says.
Yes, that's the entire premise of the First Amendment, is to keep a governmental religion from forming, to keep a government that bases all its laws and rules on a single religious idea. So instead of that, it's the ideas come from a wide range of people. So it seems like he's trying to claim favor for a separation of church and state while also being against it.
It has nothing to say about Ten Commandment displays in schools, nativity scenes in the public squares, or prayers at the graduation. That is absolutely. In fact, in the early, in 1980, the Supreme Court in Stone versus Graham said, you can no longer display the Ten Commandments in a Kentucky school. Can't even display them, much less teach them. What's interesting, Clark, is 118 years before that, a similar case came before the Supreme Court of whether the Bible could be read in school. And the Supreme Court said unanimously, and I'm quoting, why may not the Bible, especially the New Testament, be taught as God's revelation? Where can the principles of morality be so clearly found than the New Testament?
Just because they were doing something 100 years or so ago doesn't mean we should be doing it now. They realized they were wrong, so they changed society changed their ideas on what should be taught.
Now that was the Supreme Court 118 years earlier. And every time I'm on Fox debating some of these pinheads from the ACLU, I ask them the question. I say, now tell me, why is it in the mid-1800s you could read and teach the New Testament, but suddenly the Supreme Court decides 118 years later that you can't even post the Ten Commandments? What changed? Did the Constitution change and nobody told us about it? Of course not. The Constitution hasn't changed, but what has changed is this. We have allowed the atheists, the secularists, the humanists to hijack our Constitution and pervert it into something our forefathers never.
This, in my opinion, shows a kind of fear towards irreligious people by trying to claim that they have hijacked the Constitution and the government to turn it into this religious-hating organization that's looking to persecute Christians, when that is not what's happening. And it, in my opinion, shows that he himself wants to create a theocracy, giving control solely to religious people, which is something the Constitution prohibits.
That's what the problem is.